The race baiter Al Sharpton was paid $250,000 by the Kamala Harris campaign to treat her favorably during an interview in October that was aired in October. Understand this. I want y'all, now, first of all, I need you to like this video. I need you to comment on this video. I need you to let me know that this showed up on your FYP. Use hashtag FYP in the comments, and let's get into this. The National Black Church Initiative demanded Tuesday that MSNBC investigate disbursements from Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign to an organization that Al Sharpton leads, which is the National Action Network. NBCI, which described itself as a coalition of African-American churches, raised the question in a Facebook post of whether the campaign paid him to receive favorable treatment from him during her interview with Al Sharpton in October. To quote them directly, they stated, Al Sharpton does not have a degree in journalism, and it undermines the career of black men and women who have more experience and journalism integrity. The post reads that the National Black Church Initiative demands that MSNBC launch an investigation into the donation or payment by the Harris campaign. Harris for president, once again, gave Al Sharpton $250,000 as a contribution to civil rights organizations, the civil rights organization, so-called National Action Network, for which Al Sharpton is the president. They paid him once on September the 5th. They donated the same amount to him again on October 20th, and this was verified by the Federal Election Commission. My question boils down to this. First of all, Reverend Al, so-called Reverend Al, you have made a career off of being a race baiter, and I'm going to call you out on that. From one black man, I know I'm a light bright, but I'm still black, Jack. From one black man to another, one, you are the greatest perpetuator of a pseudo-false gospel that I've ever heard. You're a supposed preacher that runs around talking about, well, the white women that voted for Kamala Harris, that voted for Donald Trump, voted against their own interests, because if you vote against the right to choose, then you are not voting in line with what your interests should be. Show me in the Bible where the Lord Jesus advocates for fetus deletus, Al Sharpton. You can't find it, you can't find it, you can't find it. So I want all of you that watch this, I want all of you, look this up for yourself. Do not take what I'm saying at face value, but anyone with a brain understands that Al Sharpton is one of the greatest race baiters and bullshitters of the 21st century that dares call himself a reverend and a minister of the gospel. He is exactly the kind of wolf in sheep's clothing that the master told us to watch out for in the last days. Now, if you've watched it this far, comment a church down there in the chat. Let me know your thoughts on this. Should Al Sharpton be further investigated? And what are your thoughts on the fact that he received $250,000 to treat Kamala Harris favorably rather than unbiasedly? Because Brett Baer wasn't paid by the Harris campaign, and we saw what happened. Kamala Harris couldn't answer a question. We have to start holding these politicians accountable, not being able to be bought off by politicians when we are supposed to be representative of black people. And didn't Dr. King say, who is it that is supposed to articulate the longings and the aspirations of the people more than the preacher? Dr. King said somehow the preacher must have a kind of fire in his bones, and whenever injustice is around, he must tell it. Somehow the preacher must be an Amos and say, when God speaks, who can but prophesy? Again with Amos, let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Somehow the preacher must say with Jesus, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me. And if you're a preacher, you're supposed to be anointed to deal with the problems of your people and the problems of the poor, not getting bought off by politicians simply because you want some more money in your damn pockets. That is absolute unadulterated bullshit. You dig? Church.